قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this live episode of Ask Zad, coming to you every Sunday at 4 o'clock here in Mecca region. Our first caller is Nuhan from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The hadith says that run away as you would run away from a lion. Do we have to take this apparently? If I see someone who have a disease like contagious disease, do I have to run in the opposite direction as if I have seen a lion? Literally. Jazakallahu khairan.
Wa jazakum. This hadith is, as the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, run away from the leopard, the one who's affected by leprosy, as you run from a lion when you meet one. And the hadith is a recommendation to take the means, as there are other narrations where the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam ate with a diseased person with such an illness. And this shows that if a person's trust in Allah Azza wa Jal reaches the peak, that there is no problem in mixing with such people with contagious illnesses. However, the recommendation is that you stay away, because taking the means is better than claiming to have full trust in Allah, and then after being afflicted by it, you start to doubt your trust in Allah and may blame this to that. So it is not mandatory, but it is highly recommended to stay away from such contagious illnesses and diseases by avoiding it, because this is part of taking the means, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Mus'ab from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Okay, so my question is, I know that drop shipping is haram in Islam, but there is a company called AliExpress. They provide a service called Ali Dropship, where basically I have to pay them an amount of fees for the first time, and they will make me a website where if anyone orders something, it will go to AliExpress and they will handle everything such as delivery and others. So is it permissible? Jazakallahu khairan fid dunya wal akhirah.
Wa jazakum. Akhi, again, the issue of drop shopping being not permissible is due to the presence of selling what you do not have. So if Alibaba Express opens a website for you so people would see the items and they would request it, and they would do the service on your behalf, again, you're delegating selling what is not in your position to someone else. And the ruling remains the same. We've said this before, that the alternative for drop shipping is to have a salam transaction. And a salam transaction is an Islamic alternative for drop shipping, providing it has three conditions fulfilled. Number one, that the payment is paid in full in advance. So I want to sell you this mug. It is €1. You're interested? I don't have this mug. I only have a snapshot of it or a sample of it. So you give me €1 in advance. Condition number two, the description of this mug is fully comprehensive. So I don't say to you, it's a mug or it's black. No, I have to say the dimensions, what quality, what are the fabrics, the material it's made of. If it's a fruit, I have to identify what type of fruit, what category of species it is, so that there is no ambiguity, none whatsoever. The description has to be comprehensive. Number 3, the delivery date has to be fixed approximately. So I can't say, I'll ship it to you in the fall. This is not accepted. Or in year 2023. I have to be specific, in the first week of February, for example, or on the 20th of February, or the likes, so that there would be no ambiguity. This is halal transaction, inshallah. Aisha from Singapore.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
It's me again.
Yes.
This time around, my question will be with regards to crying in prayer. Say if I'm performing my Maghrib, and in my last rakat, in my last sujud, I pour out all my feelings to Allah and I cried. So thereafter, is my wudu still valid for my Isha?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. Abu Abdurrahman from Italy.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The question is, I saw one hadith in Riyadus Salihin, hadith number 1674. It said that it's not allowed to fast 2 days in a row. Like example, like I can fast Monday and Tuesday in a row like that. Is there a authentic hadith?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. As for Aisha's question, in a nutshell, crying in prayer or outside the prayer has no impact on your wudu at all. I don't know where you got the idea that it impacts your wudu, so you're asking whether my Isha is valid if I pray with the same wudu. The things that nullify wudu are limited. We can't bring things and add to them. So you pass wind, you urinate, you defecate, and whatever comes from your private part nullifies your wudu. Sleeping nullifies your wudu, and eating camel's meat nullifies wudu. These are the most authentic nullifiers of your ablution, your wudu. So you can't pray afterwards. You have to renew your wudu. Now, smoking, looking at the opposite gender lustfully, crying, looking at yourself naked in the mirror as so many people think, all of these things have no impact on your wudu. And Abu Abdurrahman's question from Italy, he said he read a hadith in Riyadh al-Salihin that whoever, it is not permissible to fast 2 days in a row. I personally have never heard of such a hadith, and I highly doubt the existence of this hadith. Nevertheless, there is a possibility, and this happens a lot, that the translator of the hadith made such an error which led to your confusion. And this happens a lot. And this is why we always say, people, you have to learn Arabic if you want to understand your religion without outside interference, in the sense that the Prophet said in an authentic hadith, alayhi salatu wasalam, 7 are martyrs in the cause of Allah other than a person who dies on the battlefield. And he mentioned one of them to be the person who dies with the disease or the pandemic, the plague. Now, plague, the person who dies with it is known in Arabic as mat'un, because the plague is ta'un. The translator came to the word mat'un and understood it through another meaning of it, which is a stabbed person with a knife, ta'n. So he thought that, oh, a person who dies while being stabbed with a knife is a martyr. This is not true. The hadith is specifically talking about a person who dies by the plague. So this is a mistake in translation that may lead to someone being mugged, to saying to the mugger, come stab me, I want to be a shaheed, a martyr. This is not right. Likewise, when we come to the issue of a hadith that a Prophet ﷺ prohibited continuously and simultaneously fasting, meaning that you must not fast continuously the whole year without a break, or that you must not connect a day with another day. And this is called al-wisal, meaning that today is Sunday, sunset comes, I don't break my fast. I continue to fast till Monday, sunset. So I join 2 days in one fasting. This is prohibited. So maybe this is what the translator misunderstood and failed to explain to you. Ammar from the UK.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, some food products here contain spices, but the company does not say which spice they have in the food. They just write in the ingredients spices. So there is a possibility it could contain nutmeg. So what is the ruling on eating such food item?
Okay, I will answer you inshallah. Amina from the UAE.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So my question is about paying for breaking an oath. So I don't know any poor people around here. And also, when the kind of food that I'm trying to get, like my husband buys the big one, like 20 dirham, and I buy small one, like 10 dirham, and I'm full. So what do I base this off of? Because it's supposed to be the food that I eat.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. Ammar's question from the UK, when you buy halal food or permissible food, and it says in the list of materials that it has spices, you can eat without any problem. What if it contains nutmeg? Again, you did not know about it, and it is an issue of dispute whether it's halal or haram. So for the benefit of the doubt, there is no problem in consuming this, inshallah, as long as the food itself is halal. As for Amina's question, when a person breaks his oath, he has to expiate by freeing a slave, feeding 10 poor people, or clothing them. Now, she says she's in the Emirates and she doesn't know any poor people. Well, alhamdulillah, there are many places and Islamic organizations and charity organizations that you can approach. If you call the operator, they will direct you. I think in Dubai you have a number of Islamic charity organizations that da'wah organizations that can assist you, like Kalima, like Al-Manar, and the likes. Call them and they will direct you. As for the food, you don't have to take from the food that you have in the house. The ayah refers to the average type of food you eat. So for example, your normal dish is biryani, rice with meat or rice with chicken. So a full dish that suffices a person, that would be sufficient as a meal. You don't go and take a shortcut and say, no, I'll buy them a shawarma, one sandwich, or a falafel, tamiyya, because it's cheaper. No, this is not from the average you eat every single day. And this is why scholars say, if you don't want to give cooked food, you can just buy a kilo and a half of rice per person, raw rice, and give it to them. That suffices for a single meal per person. Allah knows best. Muddathir from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I was studying pillars and conditions of Kalima Tawheed, so I would like to know what are the consequences if we miss pillar and condition either deliberately or due to ignorance or due to forgetfulness.
Okay, these conditions, Akhi, the 7 conditions, whether it's sincerity or yaqeen or honesty or etc., these are listed and placed by scholars of a very high magnitude and level. And they try to perfect your Islam to the best of their ability by listing these conditions. Unfortunately, this may backfire to laymen, and it does a lot. So when laymen read these conditions and they start to contemplate upon them, they start doubting their Islam. Do I have sincerity? Do I have honesty and truth in it? Do I have acceptance fully to it? Do I have yaqeen? And then it goes out of proportion. For us laymen, just believe in La ilaha illallah and avoid anything that goes against it. Embrace it, love it, and implement it in your life, and that would do the job, inshallah. The more you read the Quran and become familiar with it, the more you read the Sunnah and get acquainted with it, after some time, 6 months, a year, when you feel that Iman is strong in your heart, you can then go to commentary of scholars about these conditions so that you can relate to your Iman. And you will feel that, okay, now it fits like a glove. Not now. Now it would be a problem for you, and it would open doubts and whispers of shaitan without end, and Allah knows best. Salma from the UK.
Is getting a job then like you can't like if your parents can't provide for you, like a female getting is it not permissible? Especially
your line is breaking, first of all, and there's background noise. So can you kindly state your question clearly?
If you're like financially unstable, and like you can't provide for yourself, is it still impermissible to get a job when you're a female? Because there's free mixing in like the UK, especially like if you want to get stuff that you enjoy, but your parents say no, you have to get a job. Like, what do you do in that situation?
We have a rule that states الضرورات تبيح المحظورات. Necessities make prohibited things permissible. However, necessities are estimated according to their true need and whether it is a necessity or not. So, for example, a sick person can break his fasting. If someone has a stomach ache, a severe headache, a hardship that is causing him a lot of pain, it is permissible for him to break his fast and make it up later on. If someone comes and says, I have a small cut in my finger, so this is an illness, I would like to break my fast. We said, no, this is not a legitimate reason nor a necessity. When we come to a woman traveling without a mahram, this is totally prohibited. It's the Prophet himself, ﷺ, who prohibited it. Nobody can come and say, no, it's okay. Time changed. The Prophet himself says it's not permissible for a woman who believes in Allah on the Day of Judgment to travel without a mahram. Even for Hajj, even for Umrah. This is the fatwa of the Prophet ﷺ. If you're a Muslim, you abide by it. You don't go fatwa shopping or ask Tom and Dick and Harry and say, oh, they said it's okay. Then go with them on the Day of Judgment and don't seek the Prophet ﷺ's companionship. So if someone says, okay, I have a necessity to travel without a mahram, we tell her, what is your necessity? She says, I have to travel to see my mom. This is not a necessity. She says, I'm in a kafir country, there's no Muslims around me, and I fear fitna on my religion, I have to run with my religion. You say, this is a fitna. Go, even without a mahram, because this is a necessity. Coming back to your question, you say, my mom and dad don't allow me to buy things I want. Is this a necessity that permits you to mix with non-mahram men, and maybe they will be most likely flirtatious with you at the workplace? Maybe you have to compromise your hijab, etc. Of course not. Yes, if you say that my parents are all bedridden, we don't have benefits from the government, we don't have food on the table, nobody's helping us, nobody's giving us zakat or charity, and we're starving. So, okay, this is a necessity. We have to look at the list of choices of jobs and then decide what is best for you, and Allah knows best. Khadija from Pakistan.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I wanted to ask about what endorsing sins mean, and does every sort of endorsing sin mean kufr? As for example, if two people like they don't take hijab, two women, and they go out, does that mean that they're endorsing each other's sin, and is this kufr?
First of all, endorsing sins does not reach the level of kufr. Kufr has to be a conviction, whether by action, by rhetoric, or in your heart. Sinning is a sin. And this is why so many people ask, is insisting on committing a sin renders you a kafir? The answer is no. A person who is adamant on drinking wine, is drinking wine halal? Says, no, it's haram. It's mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah, and Allah cursed those who drink it. Why do you drink it? I love it. You know you're sinful. You say, I know. You know you're going to be punished in hell. He said, I know. May Allah forgive me. And he insists on it till he dies. Is he a kafir? Of course not. It is a sin, a major sin, and he will pay the price. Now, endorsing a sin means that you're also a sinful person. So if I go and there are people listening to music and I sit with them while they listen to music, I'm endorsing their sin. I'm not forbidding evil or preventing vice. So I'm endorsing sin, I'm collaborating, I'm getting something in return. If I forward a message on social media that has music or has women or has inappropriate content, and I say that, oh, there is some benefit in it, I'm endorsing this sin because I'm the one who had sent it. So this is what it means, and Allah knows best. Saif from Bangladesh. Saif? Ayash from Kashmir. Ayash.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Sheikh, I'm Saif.
Okay, yes, Saif, what can I do for you?
Sheikh, an waiver in tuition fees is given from a university based on a school certificate and admission test result. Can I accept it because
I don't understand your question, yeah, Saif. Saif.
Can you hear me, Sheikh?
I can hear you, but can you repeat the question a little bit slower?
Okay. So, an waiver in tuition fees is given from a university based on my school certificate result and admission test. And can I accept it because I've cheated in my school exams, but not in the admission test?
If this waiver is a gift in accordance to what you have achieved on their premises and you did not cheat on that particular exam, whether it's an entry exam or whatever kind of exams they have provided you, and you did well and they gave you a waiver, this is okay. But if you cheated on it, no, you cannot take that. Afia from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam.
My question is, how can I find khushu in salah? Means I pray salah, but I am unable to concentrate in salah.
Okay. First of all, I think on my YouTube channel, there are 5 or 6 video clips that may assist you in that. So I highly recommend that you go and check them. But to answer your question, khushu' or submissiveness or the ability to concentrate in your prayer is not something that you can adopt immediately. It's not a pill you can take or an injection that would secure this state to you. Rather, it is a full life transformation. See, what brings khushu' to salat? 1, knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of whom you are praying to. So if your heart is filled with knowledge of Allah, of His might, of His greatness, of His mercy, if you know the beautiful names of Allah and His attributes, when you say Allahu Akbar, your heart is filled with the love of Allah. When you have the knowledge of the meaning of what you're reciting, when a slave or a servant says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Allah replies to that and says, my servant has praised me. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, my servant has complimented me, etc. So when you know that there is a hadith that talks about the Fatiha as a form of dialogue, when you recite it, you don't just simply, Ameen. What did you do? You'll have to have khushu' in that. When all what you think about is your work in the kitchen, the groceries, when you're going to get the children from school, your wedding that you're attending at the end of the week, the festivals here and there, and your in-laws and your relatives, you finish, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, and you have not benefit from salat. So it's not something I can give it to you in few minutes or seconds. I myself am struggling with it. I've been struggling with it all my life. We will reach a time when we will have no struggles and we will enjoy it. When we reach this time, we will attain Allah's forgiveness. The Prophet says, alayhi salam, whoever makes a perfect wudu and prays 2 rak'ahs, 2, does not whisper in them or speak to himself full concentration and submissiveness, he will be forgiven all of his previous sins. If you manage to do these 2 rak'ahs, you've got it made. It can't happen overnight. It requires a lot and a lot of hard work, but then the sweetness of the results would make you forget everything hard that you had to encounter. We have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah, we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. Whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart, or is it merely on the surface, he will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity, as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life, as he does when he lives a modest life. Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust and love of him is unconditional, or is it conditioned upon good health and a comfortable life, free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back. Ayyash from Kashmir.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I hope you are in good state and I pray for your good health.
Barakallah.
Jazakallah. Sheikh, my question is about Salah at Masjid, where people are overwhelmed by many things that are actually in Islam.
I cannot understand a word of what you're saying, Ayyash. You're speaking from a barrel. The voice is so down deep as if you're in a well. So try to make it clear to the microphone, please.
I apologize, Sheikh. Sheikh, my question is about Salah at Masjid, where people are overwhelmed by many things that are actually bid'ah in Islam. Am I audible, Sheikh?
No, you're asking about Salat in the Masjid, but then you went to the well again. Okay. Atib from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, is my voice clear?
Yes, you're not in the well anymore.
Okay, Sheikh. So, Sheikh, my question is, before I studied Aqidah, I used to believe that self-amazement is halal and that the credit of my good deed goes to me. Why should we love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam if all the credit of his good deeds goes to Allah? Our good deeds are gifts from Allah. All the good deeds of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were gifted to him by Allah. So if Allah is the one who gifted him, why should we love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Shouldn't we love Allah instead of loving him?
If Allah tells you to love him, what are you going to say?
I have to obey him.
So, this question is a clear manifestation of how shaitan is messing up with your head. And if you're studying Aqidah and you come up with such a question, you are studying something wrong, or you're studying it on your own, not with shuyukh, not with scholars. This is dangerous if it takes you to this level. Allah tells you to love Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And Allah tells you, if you don't love Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, you will not enter Jannah. And it is one of the pillars of Islam to believe that Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is Allah's messenger and servant. And this entails that you believe him in whatever he tells, and that you refrain from whatever he tells you to refrain, and to do whatever he ordered you to do, and not to worship Allah except with what he had ordered you to do. And if you don't love him, then you will not be a believer. As the Prophet said, no one will become a believer until I, that is Prophet Muhammad, is more beloved to him than his wife, his parents, his family, his wealth, and himself. So this is the essence of Islam, to love Allah Azza wa Jal, and to love those whom Allah told you to love, and on the top of the list is Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. Bima from Germany.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam to Allah.
I wanted to say, for some weeks, I've been having some problems with like intrusive thoughts towards Islam and towards Allah. And it got me to have a lot of hardship because for every thought, I like repent and repeat my shahada, and like, I just don't know what to do. Like, it's been going on for weeks, and it also has effects on like my daily life.
Okay. So, Bima, if you can financially afford it, I would highly recommend that you book a counseling session with me. If you are totally broke and poor, and Allah is your witness, book one, because you're entitled for one counseling session only for those who are poor. Now, to help you with your question, has any of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, repeated the shahada more than once a day? Yani 10, 15, 20 times? The answer is no. Again, is Islam a religion of ease and simplicity? The answer is yes. Is what you're doing part of the ease and simplicity of Islam? The answer is no. So what is happening? It's very simple. You're getting closer to Allah. Satan wants to get you as far as possible. How? By doing what he's doing best. Whispering in your head, casting doubts in your mind. You're a Muslim and a strong Muslim. And the best and strongest proof that you're a Muslim is this fear that is killing you. Not to commit kufr or shirk or making you and forcing you repeat the shahada. This is a clear example and a manifestation of your Islam. So ignore totally what these thoughts tell you and move on with your life. Inshallah, you'll be a much better person. Muhammad from the Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, my question is, some people in my family that are older than me, they do some haram things, and I want to tell them that they're doing haram things, but in a respectful manner. How do I do it?
Well, there is an art for da'wah. And Allah Azza wa Jal praised Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam in the Quran in chapter 3, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. It is by the mercy of Allah that you are soft with them. Had you been rude and hard-hearted, they would have dispersed away from you. So, point number one, be soft and lenient. And this is also mentioned in the Quran by the terminology fair preaching. So it's not rude preaching. It's not, Simon says you have to do this. I'm not speaking to the people from my ivory tower. I'm going down to their level. Being diplomatic, being wise, knowing when to choose how to give and when to give advice is very crucial. This comes with great amount of knowledge and experience. It comes by asking the elders, asking the scholars, the students of knowledge. It's not just dump all the information you have on them and say, I did my due diligence. I told them this is haram. No, you have to prioritize. Sometimes you have to turn a blind eye to some of their sins in order to focus on a particular sin that you think is most important and address it. Instead of listing 20 sins that they're doing and telling them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and at the end of the day, they would not listen or adhere to any of them. So, akhi, it's an art. It's a science. It's a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal that you have to ask Allah every time in sujood and at the times of when Allah answers your dua, so that Allah would make it easy for you to open their hearts. Rashad from the Emirates. Rashad?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
if a person who has knowledge about a particular thing, and if he sins, then he will be accountable. But on the other hand, if a person who doesn't have knowledge and neither wants to have knowledge about a particular thing, will he not be sinful?
Okay. So basically, accountability is highly related to knowledge. So Allah says in the Quran, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We, Allah is talking about Himself, we're not going to torment a people or a nation till we send them a messenger. What is the use of such a messenger? So that he would educate them, he would give them knowledge. Because if the messenger was not sent, the people would say, oh Allah, how would we know that this is prohibited and brings your wrath upon us? Nobody told us. So if a person knows that drinking intoxicants is haram and he still drinks it, he's sinful. Now what about if a person doesn't know whether it's haram or not, though he has the means to learn, but he gives deaf ears to anyone who wants to educate him? He says, no, don't tell me, I don't want to listen. Why? He said, because if I listen, I would know, and if I know, then I'm accountable. So I'd rather be in my ignorance, not knowing the ruling, so that I won't be held accountable. Of course you will be held accountable. Looking the other way, when you are able to know whether it's halal or haram, would not exempt you from accountability. Those who could not learn and did not have the means to learn, and had they known, they would have refrained, these people are not accountable, and Allah knows best. Anwar from Kashmir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm doing great, alhamdulillah.
Sheikh, there are certain conditions in Islam where Allah has given us some relaxations. For example, like traveling or doing tayammum if we don't find water or water is too cold. Sheikh, my question is, let's say, for example, a person has to go to America or China to attend a music concert, hypothetically, let's say. But he has to stay there for 2 or 3 days, even though he is sinning. So in this situation, does these relaxations apply to him? For example, can he pray the qasr prayer? Or let's say hypothetically a person commits zina and then he does not find water and he does the tayammum. So in these cases, even if he is doing sin, does these relaxations still apply to him? Barakallahu feekum.
Wa feekum barakallah. The two examples are different, akhi. Someone who committed zina, this is a major sin. He is now in the major ritual impurity state, doesn't have water. It's time for prayer. That's a separate thing. He has to pray. There's no water. The concession of offering dry ablution or tayammum is there for him. He has to take it. This is separate. Someone who's traveling with the intention of sinning, the majority of scholars say that he may not take Allah's concessions of traveling because his traveling is not permissible. So if I'm going to a country to fornicate and to party, and while going there, I'd like to take the concessions of a traveler and pray the dhuhr 2 rak'ahs and combine between asr and dhuhr, etc. The scholars say, no, this is not permissible because the initial purpose of your travel is haram, and hence this is not permissible, and Allah knows best. Abu Khalid from the UK.
I apologize, Sheikh. Hello.
Abu Khalid.
Hello,
Abu Khalid from the UK, please. Who's this? Do we have Abu Khalid on the line?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. You are?
Abu Khalid.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
So we know that when you buy gold, there's some conditions that have to be met. I checked online, and if I checked that you can't buy gold through online because it takes a couple of days to come. So I'm wondering, if you go into a shop and you pay by debit card, can you get the gold by using a debit card in person? Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Akhi, the condition of buying gold via gold or via cash. So let's talk about cash. This is what you're talking about. In terms of exchange, the Prophet made it crystal clear that it has to be simultaneous. Here's the money, I receive the gold. Online is not permissible because I'm sending you the payment. By the time the shipment comes to me, it's a day or two, maybe more, maybe less, but it's not simultaneous. I'm not giving and taking at the same time as if I'm in a shop. The issue that you've raised up is going to the shop, picking a necklace, it costs 200 quid, and I give my card to the shop owner. Now, if it is a credit card, this is not permissible because he will not receive the amount immediately, and the amount would not be paid from my side immediately. I have a 40 days of grace period, and there can be many things that might go wrong. So this is not permissible. If it's an ATM card, so immediately once I give him the card and he checks it, the money is transferred from my bank account immediately to his bank account. He gets an SMS, I get an SMS. So this is simultaneous. It's like cash. There's no problem in that. Now, if the debit card is the same as the ATM, meaning that on immediate effect, they deposit the money in his bank account, this is also permissible. If not, if it's going to take a day or two, this is not permissible, and I hope this answers your question. Hamid Tuddin from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, we know that cheating in the exam is haram, but if we don't know or forget an answer during exam, then can we communicate with our friend? I mean, can we ask a friend who knows the answer of that question, and after asking him, he tells me the answer which I didn't know, and I write it down. Now my question is, Sheikh, will it be considered as cheating too? Jazakallahu khairan.
What do you think, Hamid?
I don't know, Sheikh.
Come on. What is cheating? Is cheating only limited to writing the answer in a paper and concealing it, and during the exam taking it out? It is receiving the information which you do not know via any means, whether it's written, whether it's through a Bluetooth headset and someone is talking the information and you're writing it, whether it's a teacher telling the students the answer of question number 2 is so and so, whether it is a glance you take over to see the answer from your friend's paper, all of this is cheating. So to answer your question in a nutshell, yes, this is cheating. Muhammad from Sri Lanka. Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Your name is? Wa alaikum salam.
Muhammad.
Yes, Muhammad. What can I do for you?
Yeah, so my question is about the shaitan. So he's a demon made out of fire. So and I heard that he can't stand heat and stuff. And I also heard that he'll be punished in hellfire. So how is this possible? How can fire hurt fire?
Muhammad, what were you created from?
Soil.
What were you created from?
Mud.
From mud. So tell me, if there is a mudslide, may Allah protect you and your family, and you're buried under the mud, would you feel comfortable and cozy, or would you die?
No, Sheikh.
What? Would you die?
I would die.
Okay. Yeah. How if you were made of mud? Did I answer your question or not yet? So basically speaking, yes, though the essence of the creation of Satan and the jinn, they were created from fire, this does not mean that fire would not be a source of torment for them. Because as we are originally created from clay or from mud, if someone holds a brick of clay and throws it to our heads, we're gonna bleed and feel the pain. So this has nothing to do with that, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have for today. Until we meet next Saturday between Maghrib and Isha here in Mecca region, I leave you في أمان الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.